Hello, welcome to this tutorial on Redhat Enterprise Linux 2. So at this point, we're starting the second phase of the second Linux administration 2. And based on my previous videos, we had actually covered the Redhat Enterprise Linux 1. So this one, we are starting a new chapter for a new administration 2. So we have in chapter 1, we need to cover 3 things. One, we need to understand how do we write simple bash scripts, or what exactly bash scripts. And then we'll also need to understand how do we use loops. What is a loop and how do we use, and how many types of loops are there, and which one are we going to concentrate? Remember, for this administration 2, we are being introduced into what would be covered probably ahead. And for this case, we're being introduced into understanding what a bash scripts are, and understanding what a loops are, and again, matching text with the regular expression. So if you remember, in Linux administration 1, we were in a position to use grep. So for this one, it's more like an advancement on understanding or using grep. Now, with these 3 topics, or 3 units under chapter 1, or 3 subjects under chapter 1, these are the ones, or these are the topics that we're going to cover all through. And yeah, so let's start and roll. Now, when it comes to what is bash, what is a scripting language, what is a bash script, I can actually give you like these 3 sentences, or these 3 paragraphs. The first one is that bash is a command language interpreter. And you remember that we talked about in Linux 1, or Linux administration 1, where we talked about the default. The default bash is actually, or the default bash actually stands for born again shell. So we had like different types of bash scripts, or the bash or the shell, because it's more like a shell. So the default shell that is being currently used is actually the bash. So bash is a command language interpreter. It is widely available on various operating systems, and is a default command interpreter on most GNU or Linux systems. So in this case, that we have different, or we had actually, or in the earliest or previous versions of Linux operating system, we had different types of shells. And for this case, the current operating system, or the current Linux operating system, especially the Redhat, it's actually relying so much on the bash. So bash is the default shell, and for this case, it helps us in interpreting the commands. Now, for the bash script at this point, it is actually used to automate, or what is the importance of scripting language, which is actually related to bash, or bash script language. So it is actually used to automate repetitive tasks on Linux file system. It might include a set of commands, or a single commands, or it might contain the hallmarks of imperative programming like loops, functions, conditions, or conditional constructs, and so on. So when you get more in-depth on bash scripting, or writing bash scripts, you will get to know more about all these, the loops, the functions, the conditional constructs, and so many more things. So what happens here, it's only about the introduction, how to introduce you into having to know what bash script is. Now, another probably good point is, what is a shell script? So a shell script is a computer program designed to be run by the Unix shell, a command line interpreter. So the various dialects of shell scripts are considered to be scripting languages. So remember, I said that we had actually, we had different types of scripts, or the shell scripts, but the current one, which is actually by default, is actually the bash script. So bash is actually an abbreviation which actually stands for born again shell or bound again shell. So for this part, it's high time for us to start, and based on the three units. So the first one is about writing simple basic scripts. And the second one, it will be about running commands using loops. And then the thirdly, it will be about matching text with regular expressions. So all these I'm going to show you practically. And what I want you to do, or I expect you to do, is just to sit down and follow what I'm doing. And if possible, if you have an operating system, let's say the Redhat operating system, you can actually, execute the commands I also execute. So let's start with writing simple basic scripts. So for this case, I'll be using Redhat Enterprise Linux 8, which is actually the latest version. And based on our previous topics or tutorials, we talked about how do we come up with the user accounts. And of course, by default, I have my RH135 as a user account. So I need to give password. So for this case, okay, so I am in. Now, when it comes to bash scripts is actually like a scripting language. And whenever you want to perform anything in Linux operating system using scripts, you can actually give some directions or give some commands to the script. And how do we come up with these scripts? Now, coming up with these scripts is that we have some form of rules to follow. For example, if you want to come up with a text file, let's say .txt file, you see it has an extension .txt. If you want to come, let's say, with a PDF file, you can say hello.pdf. If you want to come up, let's say, with a rich text format, you can say hello.rtf or something sort of that. And then if you want, let's say, for example, to come up now with a scripting scripting file. For this case, we will actually use what? hello.sh. So the extension here is about what? .sh. The extension is all about .sh. So for instance, if I want to come up with if I want to come up with a scripting file or a script file, for this case, I have to employ the technique of the editors. So if you remember how to come up with the editors, we have, for example, this particular word like vim or vhi, or if you go to Ubuntu, we have nano. So these are what? These are commands used to create what? To create, text files. Now, and these files are editable. So the same concept, we're going to use what? To employ vims or vi in creating what? In ensuring that we come up with a scripting file. So let's start, for example, the first one. So the first one, I'll just use vi. And then let's say I have a file called country, or let's have like continent. Now, if I will use this, if I just use vi space continent, this means what? It means that I am only coming up with a text file, but this text file is like a general file. It's more like a .txt file. But how can we make it what? How can we make it to be a script file? So I will extend it with give it an extension or attach an extension, which is .sh. So for this part, what we will do is I will just press enter, and you will see that it's actually opening a text editor. You see, the way we used to have the vims and the vi in inserting values or inserting some text into a text file, then this is exactly the way. The only difference is that this one is a script file because it has an extension .sh. Now, the next step for me here is just to press I for insert. So if you can see downward here, we have insert. Now, we have a rule. We have a rule of starting a script file. Now, for this case, we're using something called the shebang or the shebang, and this is a symbol that cuts across all shell scripting files. Now, for instance, if I want to start this, I will just use hash, then use the exclamation mark, then put the /, and then use bin. And then from there, for this case, let me just do some zooming just a little bit. So let me just extend it, let's say to 23, and then select it, and then close this. Now you can see that we have what? The hash, the exclamation mark, the /, the bin, and what? And the bash. So this means what? The default, I'm actually using the default or the current default shell, which is actually what? The bash. Now, after that, once you have this line of code, it means that already the system understands that whatever file you're creating is actually a scripting file. So for this, anything else can follow now. For example, I can give some random concept now, let's say date. I can give some random text, let's say I want, let's say author, or let's say name. I can give random, let's say country, you see. But for this case, because we are talking about the continent, let me just keep like Africa, and then let's have like America. Let's have like Asia, and let's have like Europe. Now, these are just random text. You see the hash sign that comes before these names. This one does not make any, it's not that important. Okay, it's just a matter of me putting there. But this is actually what? This is more like a syntax. But this one is just a random information. I can replace the hash sign with the numbers. I can replace the hash sign. For instance, if I want to replace, I can give it as, okay, as 4. Let me have it as 4. Let me have it as 3. Let me have it as 2. Let me have it as 1. So we know that we have all this. And then let's say the fifth one, okay, let that be enough. And then for this case, I can also use the word echo. You see, echo is a command used to do what? Just to display. If you want to display anything, you can supposed to use echo. Let's say I'm using hello, Africa. You see, I'm having this particular statement. So if I want to echo that, I can echo that. And then from there, let me just put like an end. And let's have this as the contents of my script file. So I'm only having this to display what? To give you the rules of coming up with a what? With the bash or a scripting file, the scripting file. So how do you go about this? So if I want to save, you still remember that if you look at, look below here, or below here, it's written insert. So I cannot actually save my work if this is still active. So what I will do, I will just press the escape key, and then I will type or just create, click control, shift, and then create a full column, and then WQ, and then put that exclamation mark and press enter. So with this, it means what? It means that I have successfully managed to come up with a what? With my script file, Now, for me to execute or to check the contents of my scripting file, I need to use cat because it is more like a what? It's more like a text file. So I'll just say continent.sh. If I press enter, you can see that we have what? We have all the information we had actually inserted. Now for this one, it is not actually the right way of executing because, for cat or using cat, I am only displaying the contents of a what? Of a file. But how do we get to know more about what? Or how do we execute a scripting file or a script file? Now to execute a script file, we need first of all to check the permissions. So I'll just use continent.sh, press enter, and you can see that we do not have any execute file. If you remember the file, the permissions, we have like the group, the users, which already execute has been exempted. We have the group which execute has already been exempted. And we have, of course, the groups which does not have both the write and execute. Now, for this case, it means that for us to execute this particular file, we need to have the permission. Now, let me execute and see what happens. So how do we execute a scripting file? So just press dot / and then type continent. Continent, you see even that it's not even giving me autocomplete. Press enter. You can see what? Permission denied. Permission denied. So what it means that I need to attach some permissions to this. So how do I attach the permission? And remember, the permission does not have even any of the execution. So it means that as a user, I am not able to execute the file. So I need to change. So I need to use chmod. And using chmod, it means that I need to add what? I need to add x for execute, and then have what? Continent.sh. So if I press enter, and then come back and check the permissions, now you can see that this one is different from what? From this. It's okay, different from this one. Yes. So we have this. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sawa, no problem. Sawa. Sawa, nanifungia hapo. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, so what happens is we have continent.sh file, and so the ls-l continent. So you can see that we have these permissions. We have these permissions for that. So we have RW, and you can see each one of these permissions based on the users, the groups, and the others. We do not have any what? We do not have any X or any execute files. So it is actually very important for you to add or to include this permission, which is execute. And then once you come back and execute now, let's execute dot / then I have continent. Now you can see that it's actually giving me an auto completion. Now you see, this is how you execute a scripting file or a script file after giving what? After giving the permission. So it means that for any given script file, for you to execute, you have to give the execute permission by using the command chmod, then +x. +x means that it will add execute permission to the users, it will add execute permission to the groups, it will also add execute permission to the others. Then let's see how it is executed. So if I press enter, now you can see that these commands have not been found. You see, it was looking for commands. So I have number 1 is Africa, number 2 is America, number 3 is Asia, number 4 is Europe. So I have actually given like random information or random text, but in essence, this one is not a what? This one are not commands. Now, let me show you how this can be made commands. So let me go back VI continent. I want to re-edit, and then I am back, press high. And then this one, I want to make it, let's say, let me just get rid of it. So the first one, let me give it #date. let me give it hash, let's say, for example, PS. Let me give hash top. And then, of course, we have echo hello Africa. So let me save. So if I come back here and execute, press enter, you can see already we have only hello Africa. We have only hello Africa, which is more similar to what? It's more similar than, it's more similar, or let me just get rid. Let me get rid of this and then come back here. I can say, hello Africa, how are you? Let's save it. Escape, full colon, press enter, come back, press enter. Now you can see, hello Africa, how are you? Now, so whatever thing you have to do with scripting files or script files is that you have to give like commands. It's more like you want to perform more than one task at a time. So the only way for you to perform that is by using what? By using script. So that is actually like a good introductory to using scripting files, or to coming up, first of all, how to create a script file, how to assign permissions to script file, how to check the permissions whether they have changed or not, and then how to execute that script file. So the same thing happens, the same thing repeats itself. So let's make some adjustments here again. Let's assume that I want to display what? I want to display today's date. Let's assume that I want to display today's date based on my system. So I will just say today, today underscore date dot sh. You see, if you want to combine two names as the name of a script, you have to give it or join them by using an underscore. I will press enter, and then I will press I, and then in this case I will just say date. Of course, we will start with the normal hash that beam bash. Then I will say date, then I'll say plus modulus, then we have y, and then percent or modulus, we have m, modulus, we have day, we have modulus, and then we have, let's say, underscore, and then we have modulus h, then say modulus m. So we can actually have this. So we can practice first of all and see whether we can get all this. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to capture the date. You see, for the year, it will give me the year, it will give me the month, it will give me the day, it will give me the hour, and it will give me the minute. Now for this case, let's see what happens. So I'll just escape, full colon WQ. This time round, I will issue the permission, chmod plus X, today's date, and then I will come here and say dot, let's say today date. Now you can see what? Of course, I am getting what? I'm getting, I think there's an error somewhere, but you can see that I'm getting today's date. I'm getting today's date. So you can see it is, the year is 2022. It is 01, which that means it's the month, and then the day is 25th. The day is 25th. So for this one, I think there's an error somewhere, just about, let's say, the H and M. Let me remove this, or let me just give it like that, full colon. And then just do this, press enter. Of course, you can see that it's giving me the 21, so it's supposed to give me the hour. I don't know, it's not giving me the hour. So be high. Let me change this to KI. Let me add H. HH. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know, but that is a good example. That is an example of how you can execute. So you see, up to this point, up to this point, we are getting the concept, or we are actually getting the concept of how script works. For example, if I want even, let's say here, and then I want, let's say MON, and then I want a date. Then I'll just escape. So if I clear, this time round, if I bring it and execute it, now you can see that 25th/01 on 22nd. Yeah, so this is how the script works. Now, so remember, the work of the script is just to give you some functionalities. If you want to get today's date, let's say, for example, you want to get, okay, let me adjust one more time. Okay, no, let's say that is the command, and then I want to, let's say WQ. So let's try it one more time. Yeah, so you can see that if you only issue the one date, it will give you what? Today's date, which is again Tuesday, Jan 25th. And what was the command? Cut today's date. Now you can see the only command I just initiated or just placed it here is actually the date. But this is very important. Whenever you want to start a scripting file, this is very, very important. This is very, very important concept. Now, let me advance it a little bit more. So if I go back to this particular file, vi today's date, let's just use that because the name does not matter. So I'll get rid of that. So if you want to echo, let's say, different information, let me type, like for example, echo. I can have that and say, let's say this is a sample bash script for bash. It's a simple or sample bash script for bash. Then we need to redirect. So we have this simple and then / let me take it to output. Let's say output.txt. Now, in this case, it means what? In this case, it means that, first of all, let me just do this. So let me escape. Let me say, first of all, now in desktop, I want us to create this particular file. So let me just do it. So in desktop, I want us to create this particular file. So let me just have touch output .txt file. So if I ls, you can see that we have what? We have this file, which is output.txt file. Now, let's go back to our script. Okay, so it means that I want to do what? I want to take it to this particular file. So it means now that I will have, let's say, home. I will have RH135, and then I will have desktop, and then / we have output.txt file. Now for this one, after that, let's say, so let me just reduce this file so that we can know that, okay, let's have it in line. This is bash. Okay, so I am redirecting. Then from there, let me just come and put another one, echo. This time round, I'm also redirecting it to home. It's a home RH135 / desktop / output.txt. And then for this case, we can again have echo. This time round, let me have star, and then star, and then redirect it again to where? to let's say /RHL8/desktop. So let me just, so it's this more like a line. So desktop, and then finally we have output.txt. So let's save and do. So I will just save full colon WQ. So it should be in lower cases, press enter. If I say cut today, you can see that we have all this info. But if I execute today, press enter, you see like it's actually executed. But now everything has been redirected to this particular file called output.txt. So in this case, it means that if I check the contents of desktop, I have what? Output.txt. So now if I want to check the contents of that file, I'll just say output.txt and press enter. You can see that we have what? We have this particular line, which has already been given. And I think we are missing something. Here. So there's some concept here about this is bash. So this is bash should also be displayed. It should actually be displayed. So I don't know where the error is. But you can see that by using script, we were able to redirect. We were able to redirect this concept. We were able to redirect. Let me get all this. We were able to redirect these patterns. So for example, if I can have another pattern, okay, put that, let's say, and then redirect it to, let's say, home, RHL8, desktop, then output.txt, and then colon, enter. Now, if I come and execute ./today, press enter, it's executed. Now, if I want to check the contents of output, now you can see already I have this. So I think depending on the number of files, I'm only getting the last one because probably the rest are going to be overwritten by the last one. Now, let me just get rid of the last one and see what happens. So let me get rid of the last one so that we can prove the point that either they are being overwritten. Okay, so full colon. Then let me execute the file or run, yeah, and then cut today. Yeah, it's being overwritten, but in this case, it should be redirected to this particular file. It should be redirected to this particular file. Now, let me try it one more time. Let's say CD shift on. So here it means that where am I operating from? I'm operating from RHL8. Now, under RHL8, if I do ls, I have this. Now, let me create this particular file so that we can check. Let's say Kenya, or let me have like country. Let's assume that it's a .txt file. So we have country. So you can see that we have country.txt file. Now, in this case, I want to redirect some files here. So I'll just come back again and just reuse the same concept. Okay, for this case, let me come up with a file or script file. So vi, let's have script.sh. Then let me press I for insert. Then put the symbols for the bash. Don't forget this. Now let me echo this. Let me try to echo this. This is bash. And then we are directing to where? So we are directing it to somewhere which is actually output. Not even output, but country.txt. So let me save WQ. Now give me the permissions. So plus X script, and then let me put it / script, press enter. Now, if I go ls or type ls, I'm able to see what? I'm able to see the country.txt. So let's see the contents. Let's see whether country.txt has something. Press enter. Yes. So you can see now it means that this is bash. This is bash. So you can redirect. Again, once more time, let me go back to my script file. This time round, let me add something, press I, and then let's say echo, let's say Sammy, and then put that, and then put that, / let's say country. Okay, country .txt. txt. You can save an echo, let's say this pattern, and then put that, and then redirect it, and then / country .txt. Now let me save it. So if you come back and execute the file, and then now if you come back here and just check the contents, cut country.txt, press enter. Now you can see that we have what? We have only the star. So it means that they are actually being overwritten. They're actually being overwritten. So this is how to write what? Simple shell scripts. This is how to write simple shell scripts. So for this case, I want us to introduce now this other part, running commands using loops. Running commands using loops. So for the scripts, it's all about like an introductory part, just to show you how you can execute simple shell scripts and how you can get some results. So remember the concept that first of all, you have to create that script file. Secondly, you have to either insert some activities. Let's say, for example, if you want to display the date, you have to give it. And then from there, the very important concept is ensure that you give some permissions to what? To the script file. And then now use / then the name of the script for execution. Now let's have a look at shell scripting for loops. We also have shell scripting for loops. So when it comes to shell scripting for loops, we have different types of loops. And for this case, let me just create one for loop.sh. This one is a file, vi loop.sh. Now, then you start with hash, ! bin, then bash. So in this case, it means what? It means that you need to understand the types of loops that are out there, because we have, let's say, for example, for loop, we have basic loop, we have different types of loops. But because it's an introductory part to loops or using shell scripts and loops, I'm only going to show you, let's say, the for loops. I'm going to show you the for loops. So here for the for loops, we have different ways or different types of for loops. And the first one is that we have this loop, let's say for, and then remember, this is like a syntax for any loop. Let's say in, and then let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can talk about enter and then do, and then enter. We have like commands. We can have command 1, we can have command, let's say command 2, we can have command 3. Then once you're done with the loop, then you're supposed to type what? Done. You see how it arranges itself. So we should have all this in what? In syntax. You should have all this syntax. So this is the first one. This is how you can work with loops. So I'm going to show you different types and also by execution. So let's start. When you talk about a variable is just like a temporary container that holds values. Whether this container is represented by number, whether this container is represented by letters, it all stands for what? A temporary container. So for instance, if I want to represent this, let me give it like hi, because this is actually what we know by when it comes to loops. We usually use the hi for variables. And then I can say for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want you to do what? Get me this. So let me just get rid of this first of all. So for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the reason why we're calling it for loops is because it starts with the word for. So this will help us in counting. So for I in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do what? Do this. I want you to echo what? Echo $sign hi, because it's a variable. So you must denote it with a what? With a $sign. Then say done. You see? So once it's done, I want us to see this particular loop, whether it will display 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I will do, I'll just escape just to save, WQ, and press enter. Now we must give what? The permission. So plus X and then loop. And then to execute, I'll just say loop.sh. If I press enter, now you can see that we have the execution or the display of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which was being introduced or which was actually under what? Under loop. So if I can take you back, you can see. So for this type of loop, it's actually a for loop. This has generated what? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it means that for this particular call variable hi, which is a temporary container, it holds these values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can, after executing the script, it will display 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the first one. Now, if I can go the second one, the second type of loop, I can use this. It's just now to devise or to just change one or two things. So I will use for hi in use curly brace and say 1 dash dash, let's say 10, and then close it. And then come here and say do, and then echo $sign hi, and then come and say done. So I'm using hi. Remember, you can use any other letter as long as if it appears here, it must appear here. So let's execute. So this means what? It will display all the values from 1 to 10. So full colon WQ, press enter. Now, if I execute the loop, now you can see it is giving me everything from number 1 to 10. So how is the code look like? What the code look like? So I am using what? These parameters. Instead of me writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm using these parameters to say between 1 and 10. Between 1 and 10 with 2 dots coming in between. With 2 dots coming in between. So this one is a what? This one is a for loop. It's a different type of for loop. Now, let's go to the third one. So the third one is also a type of loop, but in this case, it will all about adjusting this. So let me give like 1, 2, and then I give it like, let's say 10 dot dot, and then let's give it like 2. 2. Now, what do we mean by this? What do we mean by this type of loop? So first of all, you can see that we have 1, then dot dot. 1 means what? It should start from 1. The counting must start from 1. The 10, it means that it must end at 10. It must end at 10. And then this last 2, it means what? It's an increment. So there must be a counting of between 1 to 10, but in every counting, there must be an increment of 2. Now, let's confirm it. So if I come here and say loop, press enter, you can see that we have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 2, it is 9. So that is how, this is how that works. Then the last one probably for this tutorial, when it comes to loops, is that, let me just show you here. So if I get rid of all this, first of all, now let me try this echo, and then we have the $sign, and then we have, let's say, bash. Let's see whether we can get the bash version here. Let's say. Now this one is not a type of loop, but I'm just testing whether we can get something. Yeah. So you can see if you want to test or to get, let's say, the version of your bash shell, then we have that. So how does this look like? So you can see that we have echo, then the $sign, and then the bash version. Now that is just by the way, that is not another type of loop. Now let me take you to another type of loop. So hi. So we can have like for hi in, or even not that, you can say for, and then into bracket, let's say close, and then this time round, let's have I equals to 0, semicolon, I equals to, or high is less than 10, semicolon, and then high equals to plus, semicolon. So this is more like what it should start from 0, and then the maximum, it should end at 10. That means the value should be less or less than 10, and then there should be an increment of 1. Then from there, come and say do, let's say echo $sign high, and then let's say done. So this one is a different version. So let's test it. So if I come and say loop, press enter, I think there's a syntax error somewhere. Which is supposed to give us, let's go back. So we have 4, okay, let's see whether we can get it. Okay, let me just say hi. Let's say this. Okay, for hi. Okay, let me just save it again. Loop. Okay, let's see the header. Syntax error near unexpected token. This /. So the error lies somewhere here. Okay, let's recheck it. So vi loop. So for I, so let's have it. Let's say for hi in. Okay, let me just execute it. Loop. Press enter. Wow, where is the error? The error lies somewhere. So line 2, loop. Okay. Okay, so let me just hi. Okay, first of all, we just get rid of all this. Okay, arithmetic expression required. Wow, I don't know what's happening with this. Okay, let's try one more time. If it does not work, yes, so it has worked. So you can see that if I can come to cut loop, now you can see how it is. So for this one, it means that, yeah, we need to put like say semicolon here, but no semicolon at the end. So for this one, it means that it will start from 0. The counting should not exceed 10. It should be less than 10. So 10 will not be included. And then the increment should go by 1. And then we generate that. So with this, it means what? It means that this is how you can use the for loop to execute or to use a script by giving different results using the for loop. So the next part for this section is now matching text with regular expressions. Matching text with regular expressions. So how do we match text with regular expressions? Now for this case, I'm going to share a file. And for this case, I have this particular document here, which is very, very important to us. And for this case, it means that for us to get different results, okay, let's see, I think it should go 120, okay. Now, this is the summary of the common regular expressions, and I've decided to put it in writing so that we can understand. You see, we have this particular document. Let me just show you the document. So I'll just go see the desktop, which is in desktop, ls, and yes, so let me just get remove -rbf. I have continent, I have output, I have today, press enter. Now let me clear my screen. Now ls. So I have this particular file, which is what? Universal.txt file. Universal.txt file. So this one is a file that contains a lot of info. If I type cat universal.txt, that means I want to view the contents of this text file. Press enter. You can see that we have a lot of information. We have a lot of files, so many files. Now using grep, we can achieve, or we can achieve different results by just using different commands or grep commands to find different results. So what happens is, with this particular file, the file is so dummy because it has a lot of information. But how can we sort them one by one? Or how can we use regular expressions to get a specific pattern? Remember, grep is basically used to get some specific pattern. If you want names that ends with the .txt files, .txt extension, you can actually get that by using the grep. So how do we go about? So our main file here is universal.txt file. So we will use this to practice what? The grep, or matching text using what? Using regular expressions. Now, the summary of the common regular expressions that we have are this. We have this symbol, which is actually like two, that is the opening and the closing square calibres, or I mean squares brackets, and then we have a semicolon coming at the end. So this one means what? It matches any one of a set characters. It matches any one of a set characters. We have the square brackets with hyphen. This matches. So of course, this matches any one of range of characters. And I will show you how we can do that practically. We also have this symbol. The pattern following it must occur at the beginning of each line. We also have this symbol with the square brackets and full colon. This is what? The pattern must not contain any character in the set specified. We have the $sign with a single colon. The pattern preceding it must occur at the end of each line. Then we have the dot. And then of course we have this. This matches any one character. We also have this, which is actually like the backslash. This ignores the special meaning of the character following it. And then finally, we have the star full colon, full colon. which means 0 or more occurrences of the previous characters. Then of course we have the dot and then the star, which is nothing or any other numbers of characters once. Now, for us to understand it fully, let's execute. Let's execute, because by reading, we may not understand it, but practically we can get to understand. So let's start from the first one, that we want to match any one of a set of characters. We want to match any one of the set of characters. So I will only copy this and execute. So copy and go back here. I will go to this part and paste it. Now, what is so important here is what? You see, we have these curly braces coming in. We have these color braces. Let me see whether I can change this color so that we can have different, okay. I don't know whether we can have different styles. Okay, let me just leave like that. Now, this is our file I was talking about, universal.txt. And this is the grep. This is actually the regular expression command. Now, what we are interested here is that I am only looking for this particular pattern. The first curly brace will take C in uppercases, C and F in uppercase and also in lowercase, R and T in both uppercase and lower cases. So I want to see what am I going to get. So if I press enter, you can see that I am getting what? I am getting, you see, for example, we have cut, all these are cut. Now let's go back and look at the, now you see, here it means that anything related, anything that will start with C and has A in between and ends at either R or T, it will be displayed. So CFs, then A should come in between. If I execute it one more time, now look at this, these are cuts, Now let's see whether we can get something else. Now you see we have fat, Let's see whether we can have something different. Okay, we have car, and let's see something else. We have, of course, so we've actually seen a lot. Now, let me just put it this way. This was the command. And through this command, it means that I can get cut. That means I can get cut. I can get car. I can get fat. I can get, so you see, like it's coming. So let's say, for example, the first C for cut it's coming from. So we've captured the first cut. And if there's a small, the word cut that uses the small lowercase c, then of course it will capture. Then A is automatic. A should come in between all of them. Then we have R, either of this. We have car, which has R, and we have fat, which has what? T. So this is how we do what? This is how we capture by using what? By using regular expression. So that is the first one. This one is the first one. That is the first one. Now, the second one, based on my document here, is one of range of characters. So it can be, first of all, it must have the DA, and then it can take any value from A to Z. The second thing happens. So let me copy this. So ensure that you copy it, or you just put it, and then let's go and execute it. So I will go to edit and paste it. Now let's see, press enter. So you can see that the DAT we have, like date, we have date, that, you see we have this. So here it means that if I can run the same statement, means that yes, DA must be there. And then any single letter coming between A to Z, whether we have D, double A, D, double A, I mean, DAB, DAC, DAT, DAD. So a single letter must be chosen between that. Now, we also have another one. What happens if you want like 2 letters? So I have this. Come here and paste it. So here it means that I'm choosing one letter between A to I and the second letter between A to Z. Let's see. So you can see we have DAB. That is, B has come between A to I, and then L has come between A to Z. So we have readable, readable. So that is the second one. Now, let's use this one. This other command. To find the pattern, or the pattern following it must occur at the beginning of each line. So here it means what? Let's say it practically. Then come back here, edit, paste it. So press enter. Now you can see that it must come before what? It must come, let's see, the pattern following it must occur at the beginning of each line. So what is the essence of that? Let me scroll it up and see whether we're getting something else. So HE, HE, so E, 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 E. So it must start, you see? All of them must come first. And then there it is. So that is it. And how do we display the list of directories only? To display list of directories only, of course, this one can also be used. So I'll just copy. This one is as EC as ABC. So I will just, let me clear it fully and then come here and paste it. So ls for listing, -l, full colon, grep, and then I am listing what? The directories. Press enter. So you can see that cannot access -l, no such file or directory. So even if I had D and press enter, you can see that no such file or directory. Now, what happens if I want, let's say, E? Now, cannot access this. Now, what happens if we change the user to root? And then we execute the same command. Now, no such user. So in this case, I just go back as RH135. So if you want to execute that, you must use what? That. But in this case, what happens if I want to get, let's say I want to get, okay, let me go to edit, paste it. This, okay, this time around, let me just get rid of that, press enter. Okay, no such command, because it's a regular expression. So if you miss a piece or the syntax itself, then it will actually kick you out of the point. So display list of regular files only. So let me copy this. Let's see what happens. Go to file, paste it, press enter. So here it means what? Use no such file or directory, no such files, means that we do not have any files related to that. And now, so this is based on what? This is based on the directories that you want to look for regular files or look for directories. Now, again, let's see this. The pattern must not contain any character in the set specified. So the set specified is here. Now let's grab it or capture it, and then let me paste it and press enter. So here it means what? Because this file exists, then it means that it contains all this information. And you can see now that based on this point is that I am supposed to get a letter or a word that starts with D and ends with E. But any letter that comes in between should not be between A to I. It should be above I. So we have DLE. L comes after I. You can see that we have O comes after I, R comes after I. So we have all this information. Yeah, then coming towards the end of this, we also have the pattern preceding it must occur at the end of the line, of course. Let's just see, look at this. So we have this file. Let me go edit and paste it. So we have got the dollar sign. Let's have a look. So nothing has been captured on that particular file. Why? Because we do not have any pattern preceding it. And then let's say any pattern that matches any one character. Let's just go back to this one. Let me come to this and paste it and press enter. Now let's see what is the essence of this. We have stupid here. We have stdid. Okay, we have stupid there. Now let's understand this concept. So if I bring up this comment, you can see anything that starts with st, it must have 2 letters in between and then ends at id. So we have the word stupid and then the universal. So you're supposed to start with the grep command and then of course give the regular expression which you want and then of the pattern, and then we are preceded by the file itself. So we also have for the backslash. So we have a lot here. This ignores the special meaning of the character following. So they can go to copy the backslash, then come here, edit and paste it, press enter. Okay, nothing comes, but this one means that we should have what? Out. Out should come before the forward slash. We should also have, let's say, hell. Let me grab it and then go back to this point, paste it, press enter. Now you can see that we have what? Hell. So we must have the word hell coming before what? Before this symbol. So do we have that? Yes, we have L. So that is a what? That is a regular expression matching that. And then we need like 0 or more occurrences of the previous character. 0 or more occurrences of the previous character. So it should start with the word happy. Whether we have happy, we have happiness. So let's see. So you can see append, append, append. Now, what is the command here? The command is that it should start with AAP. And then it should end with D. It should start with AAP, then it should end with D, and then it must, N must be somewhere. N must come in between. So we must have like a single letter here. We must also have like a single letter there. So that is it. And then of course, coming towards the end, we also have nothing or any numbers of characters. So let's see. So of course, this one is more similar to the previous one. So if I go to edit and paste it, press enter, now you can see that we have a lot of info. And what is the command? The command means that grep up, it must start with HAP dot, and then it must have what? It must end with what? ED. It must end with ED. So if you look at this particular paragraph, is that we have like HAP, and then it cuts across what? Like we have the ED, or up and then ED. So this is what? This now summarizes our topic or our chapter 1, which so far we've talked about. Number 1, we've talked about how to write simple bash scripts or how to write simple shell scripts. Secondly, it was all about running commands using loops. So we've actually seen the for loops. And then lastly, we've actually seen or how to match text with regular expressions. So in that case, we've actually come to the end of our unit and chapter 1 on Redhat 2 or Redhat Administration 2 or Redhat Enterprise Linux 2. And from there, we will now move to second chapter, which is all about, it's all about scheduling jobs. So up to there, thank you for your time and enjoy.